Okay, so hi. It's been a long time. My hair is a mess. It's been a long day. I'm sorry. Uh, and with that, I've never ran one off my computer, so please let me know if this is working. Somebody, anybody? Turn my phone off because we don't need that going off in the middle of in the middle of our video here. Um, anyway, I don't know if this is working. Let's see. I can pull up on my other account. There we go. Now I can see myself. This is weird. All right, we got Chris James. What's going on, man? I haven't seen you in a long time. All right, we got Jeff. We have my wife. Chris is in Virginia. Okay, so where can I see how many? There we go. This is weird. I'm sorry. I have never used my computer to go live, so usually it's on this little device right here where I watch what's happening. So having my computer is how to learn the controls, which is part of the reason it took me so long to get on here. Oh wait, well, Mr. Dimple, sir, I do know that is your fault because I can hear my voice out there because she's watching it in the living room while I'm live in the office. Take right. Let's see. James Keller. It has been an interesting few months. It has been a very interesting few months. And as things kind of get rolling, people start coming in here and this starts going. By the way, I know I haven't done very many videos lately. I hope you guys understand why. And please do me a huge favor. Share this out to anyone you know in the transport business, anyone who you think might enjoy it, might gain something, might whatever. I've really dropped off YouTube lately, and we'll cover that in this video as well. Anyway, yeah, if you could please, get the word out, if you will, and kind of get this going and videos like this where I'm kind of talking about what's happened and big changes and explanations as to why. I prefer to do those as a live. Some of them I've done as a video, and then I get a ton of comments and questions in the comment section. So if I can do them live, I think that's far more beneficial to everyone because I can answer your questions as I see them scroll right here on the side of the screen, and it's convenient that way. It's you get a quicker response. I miss a lot of comments because I've noticed after so many comments, YouTube stops notifying me, and I'll go log in, and I've got comments from 3 months ago on a video. Anyway, so I guess we're got 18 people in here watching now. Start shooting with some of your questions, and we'll kind of see how that rolls into covering topics. I have a few topics that I know I'm going to guide the conversation towards as the time feels fit. Anyway, yes. Again, please share this out to anyone you think could get some benefit, gain some knowledge, whatever. Wants to yell at me for being mean because can't say naughty words on YouTube. But as I kind of touched on in the last video. A lot has happened. It was late March, I think, and I started getting a lot of issues in my arm. And they kind of kept getting worse and worse. And I was over in, I think I was in Ohio. And it just got to where I had my arm like propped up and trying to lean on it, take pressure off. And I couldn't bounce around in the semi anymore. Not for work anyway. Uh, just the pain was far too extreme. I mean, eyes watering, just awful. And I called my boss and I said, "Hey, I know that I talked to you about this coming at some point. Whatever's going on is getting a lot worse really fast. So unfortunately, this is going to be my last run." He's like, "No, no, I get it. Um, I absolutely get it. Your health is by far the most important thing there. Um, and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. There's no hard feelings. You've been an outstanding driver. I love having you work for me. If you heal up and you ever want to come back, please let me know. We'll get you going." Like all of the things. And I was like, "Cool, appreciate it." Cleaned my truck out after that load. That was early April, and it was just about a month and a half ago I started getting decent use back in that arm. And it's all stemming from stuff in my neck, from an old injury. It's getting worse, and that's part of being old, I suppose. And at that point, I was trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do? I've got all these bills, and I've got, this and that, and I'm trying to make life work, and yada yada yada. And I'm on ZipRecruiter, and I'm on Indeed, and I'm looking for jobs, and you know, I started looking at car lots. I thought maybe I could do that, and then I looked at the Harley dealer, and I thought, maybe I could do that, and then. Of course, because I started looking at those things, I was getting fed all sorts of, the guys that come and bang on your door. "Hey, you want to buy solar panels? Hey, we noticed that you have a crack in your roof. You want to buy a new roof from us?" And I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to go bang on your door, and I'm not going to sit there and just mass call people's personal cell phones, home phones, whatever. It's just, that's not my personality. And now we've kind of got that far, I'll touch on some comments and we'll continue this story a little bit later. And by all means, ask questions because I'm going to get to all of you, I promise. So let's see. We saw Chris was working in Virginia. James, Chris James, been here and there trying to survive. I feel that. Me and my old lady have been struggling, and it's not due to her. Then we'll touch on that a little. Life has been rough, and we'll touch on that here in a little bit. There she is. Take your fingers out of your ears. Thanks, hon. Let's see. Mark said good evening. Jeff said he can hear me. Honestly, I think the past few months have been big changes for a lot of people. Some better changes than others. Yeah. I've heard things are not going well at all.
That was Jeff to take his fingers out of yours.
Okay.
So he can hear you.
Yeah, it's been rough for a lot of people, and I've definitely seen that happen. Whatever happened to the Ford Dually? Well, would that be the Streetwalker or Rebound? Because they were very different stories as to what happened to them. So, Gus, when you let me know which Dually Ford you're referring to, I'll let you know what happened to it. Let's see. Bandits, thanks for coming on our live show. Yeah, I got the notification from both of you about the live, and I jumped on there. And then while I was looking for your live, because I don't get notifications about you, I noticed that I missed high mileage helpers, and that kind of upset me. But life, I suppose, and such. Redneck woman, how are you? Are you still transporting? You and your husband still out there putting in them miles? Bandits, it was awesome to see you guys. I really enjoy hanging out with you. I mean that. Y'all put me up for a reset. I owe you. I have beds and couches. Beds and couches. I have room. I would love for you guys to come do a reset over here a lot. I would very much appreciate that. Let's see. Bandit say press the like button. Alaska Allen says hello. Gus the Streetwalker. That's a sensitive subject. I messed up is what happened with that. Was it the right move? I don't know. Was it a move that I regret? Yeah. That doesn't mean it was wrong, but I definitely regret it. So if you follow me on Instagram, I got the Streetwalker repaired. The CP4 pump went, which it went, and then I somehow was able to drive it for like 3 months after it went. Truck wouldn't start. It was half a can of ether every morning to start it. And yes, I know that's bad for them. Yes, I know you don't do that to a diesel. And it was just the tiniest, and that's why it was a half a can, because it was a whole bunch of those little squirts before it would finally pop off. And that's probably why it didn't hurt it too bad. So finally limped it into a shop, had a job opportunity. Those of you that have followed every video on the channel, I started driving for Jason, Dream Inspired. And I did that while the truck was in the shop. Like, I had that catastrophic where the whole axle and wheel and hub went launching off the semi on the highway, and I limped it into a town, and that whole fiasco. And yeah, I'm not here to badmouth people. I try not to. So we won't go into exactly what happened, but it was at that point that my mind had been made up that I was going to walk away from Horizon. And dropped the trailer. And it was probably 8 or 9 hour deadhead home after that delivery. So dropped the trailer, beat feet home, and took the truck to a repair shop here locally. Not the dealership, because no. Took it to a small repair shop. A guy that is Ford certified technician, had been working at the dealership for many, many, many years, and hated the way customers were being treated. Decided to walk away, start his own repair shop where he was in charge of how customers were treated. And I did a whole video of, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the shop now, but go back in my old stuff right about the time I started driving for Jason, or just a little bit after. And there's a video about the Streetwalker, and I mentioned the shop and the guy's name and phone number and how to get a hold of him and everything. He only does Fords, only does Power Strokes. But if you happen to be in the Boise area and you have a Power Stroke issue, he's your guy. Anyway, so drove there for a while. He fixed the CP4 pump, And because I'd driven it for so long, needed the fuel lines flushed, needed the gas tank flushed, all the injectors cleaned out. It was bad. There was the golden stripper glitter was everywhere. Got all that resolved at a very hefty bill. I had to fix a couple other things that were wrong with the truck at the same time. It was a little over $14,000, and put her up for sale. And that's where I don't know if that was a good move or a bad move. I sold her for $40K, which just under 400,000 miles, probably not bad. But it was paid off. Like, I had the title in my hand. And if I had kept it when things went sideways with Jason, I would have had something to fall back on. And again, I'm not here to throw shade or talk crap on people. That's not, I try not to do that kind of stuff. He went into detail on his side of the story on his channel, and I chose to leave it at that. He can say what he wants. Doesn't affect me any. So yeah, that's what happened to the Streetwalker. Let's see. Redneck woman, her and her husband quit about a year ago. Okay. Thinking about hanging up the keys come the end of the year. I love it out here on the road, but I think it's time to move on. Alan knows a little bit what I'm thinking. Awesome. Your husband is working for a local dealership fleet division. Yeah, I'll be honest. There's times I miss it. That's part of the reason I still watch the Bandits. There's times that I miss going out and do the RV transport. I don't really miss doing the semi stuff as much. It was a lot more pleasant to drive that down the road. You've got an actual bed and a fridge and a freezer and a microwave. Room to move around. There's a lot of that stuff is nice, but there's a lot of it that I don't miss just because people. But the RV transport thing, yeah, I kind of miss that sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Well, that's weird. Okay, good. You all saw that too. That popped up on I don't know what that was. Anyway, the RV thing, yeah, it's kind of neat. Single pole, I don't know that I would do flatbed again. I mean, there's definitely, better money in flatbed if you have your own trailer. I mean, you're responsible for all the maintenance on it, so, give and take. If I could buy my own semi and do flatbed, I don't know. But I'm very happy being home. I've had a lot of life realizations, which is exactly kind of what I touched on in my last video. Having, oh, wow, that's kind of disgusting to think about. I had over $100,000 in Subarus in my driveway, and having the almost $60,000 worth of Harleys in the garage. That was neat. Look at the nice things. Cool. The Outback was extremely comfortable, and the WRX was fun, and who doesn't love motorcycles? But I was a slave to the payments. I was absolutely no way around it. I was a slave to the payments. And I don't miss that. You guys saw in the video, I got an old Silverado, and my wife's got an old Expedition, but they're paid off. The titles are sitting in my gun safe. And I'll take that 10 out of 10 days over having all the fancy things and keeping up with the Joneses. Um, yeah, and that was kind of the realization. What happened to the Suburban? Okay, so to answer that question, we'll jump back into the story of what happened with my employment. So arm went bad, came off the road, had no job. You know, we had been discussing me coming off the road. We had kind of been looking at, all right, I'm going to start looking for work, trying to find something, talk to businesses, build things up. Like it's time for me to come off the road. But we were looking 6 months down the road, me coming off. And then when my arm went, it was oh no, we're doing this now. Um, and then I ended up selling the Suburban to pay bills. Like I took the money and it went right out the door to pay bills. Uh, because I came off the road in the middle of April. And because I was trying to keep all of those things, the 2 Subarus and the 3 motorcycles and, just keep all of the things, I was trying to find a job that was, $25, $30 an hour. Hey, yeah, I got no training. I did some stuff in the military. Um, I played with tanks. I'm really good with tanks. Do you have a job that pays $30 an hour where I can drive an Abrams around and shoot at things? Because I can do that really good. Other than that, I was a truck driver. No. I got my first job when I was 16. I was a radio DJ, and then I was a preschool teacher, and then I worked on the Alaskan fishing boats, and then I worked in a lumber mill, and then I was pulling green chain, and I did wildland firefighting, and I worked in a plywood mill, and I did roofing, and I did construction, and I worked in a roto molding plant. I made the porta johns, the blue porta johns that you at concerts and the fair and stuff. And then I joined the military. I have no life experience. I have no job experience. I have plenty of life experience. I have no job experience. I have no training. I have nothing that commutes into the civilian world. So I came off the road early April, mid-April, and I didn't start the job I'm working now until June 12th. And that wasn't for lack of trying. I mean, I was every day resume, application. I had a dozen interviews, a dozen phone in-person interviews, several dozen phone interviews, but I didn't have the experience to back it up. So it took me forever. And I got this job now, selling the insurance. And I like it. It's a good job because I can stand behind the product. A lot of insurance, I think, is people getting rich and a scheme and a scam, and that, to a degree, yeah, it all is. Even where I'm at, but I legitimately think this is a good company, and I have every intention of getting my own policy with them that I pay for. It's not we get it for free. Like I pay for it, but I think it's a valid, legitimate, good thing. If I had it when my arm went, I would still have all of my things. But don't get me wrong. I'm glad they're gone because it was that realization, that slap in the face realization that you're being an idiot, and that was kind of the topic of the last video I did. But I wouldn't have had to. I wouldn't have been forced into that. You know what I mean? I would have just found it out on my own. But I would have had income coming in because of them. So, I think it's a good thing. Now, the issue is, like I covered in my last video, it's it's a very slow ramp into it. And I'm just starting to break ground, and it's taken a long time. And I, as I said in the other video, I have this company I've been talking to, and I think it's looking good. And what I'm going to be able to do is do both, because it's night shift, and then the insurance thing is work when it's your own boss, like just like in transport. So instead of being out the door at 7:30, 7:45, some days 8 o'clock, you know, because it's night shift before, maybe I sleep in until 9 and I get out the door, and then I go and work. I'm working 3/4 of a day instead of a full day, and then go do this other job, just to bring in the additional money and just kind of see what happens. Maybe the insurance picks up, maybe it doesn't. I have a backup plan. So that's kind of where we are. It's a very long answer for what happened to the Suburban. I hope that I didn't lose you. But I guess that's kind of where all of that is. And again, please ask your questions. Let me know what you want to know. We can just sit here and BS for a little bit. I mean, I haven't done a live in a long time, so I would love to do a live with you guys. I think my last live was right when I first started driving the semi, and I had the high mileage helper with me. I think. I don't think I've done a live since then. I feel like I have bounced around all over in this. So if I left a topic unanswered, please say something down there. Oh, right. It's probably right about there. So, by all means, if I left something unanswered, or you need a little clarification, or you just have some other general question, please get in there. Let's talk about it. In the meantime, because I made the comment on the Bandits video, so these companies that are, oh no, we're pushing this agenda or that agenda or whatever. If I disagree with you, that's fine. I can disagree with you. I won't buy your stuff new. I'll go buy it secondhand. And I say that because everyone's bagging on Harley. Indian did the same thing. So I would go buy a used Indian motorcycle, but I wouldn't go buy one brand new. But as Cheryl said, the Taliban thing, as someone who's deployed a few times, as someone who has lost friends, by the way, that's why this tattoo is on my head. The whole thing is a memorial piece to some guys I lost at the hands of the Taliban. A couple of them were, people that I knew, and one of them was a very close friend. That bothers me. And yes, Chris, I know that was a while. It was about a year ago, give or take a few months, I think. I didn't hear about it until just a couple months ago. Is that on me for not seeing exactly what this company's doing or that company's? Yeah, sure, I guess, but it also just didn't make the big media push that things do. So I have a hard time with it personally because of that. This woke agenda and push this ideal and that ideal. Okay, fine. That's you do your thing. I just won't buy your products new. I'll buy them used. As far as where that all lands, as far as where that all lands, I don't know. My initial thought is I don't want a Harley in my garage because of that, not because of the woke stuff, but because of the Taliban comment. That really strikes me. I've had a lot of personal stuff that I've battled hard on because of that. So it bothers me. And yeah, I'm with you, Lynn. I definitely won't buy another used one. It's just time to do research and see what is another good bike that, all right, I'll move to this brand. I don't know. And I'm just using this as filler because you guys aren't giving me comments to talk about. I've kind of already covered the things that I wanted to in this video, so the rest of this is up to you, as all of my lives have been. You guys dictate what we're talking about. And because I've read every comment, I don't really have anything aside from the topic that was brought up by Jeff. And that's kind of where I stand on it. If we were to cancel every single business because we disagreed with one thing or another, there really wouldn't be anything left to choose from. So by all means, vote with your dollars, but pick your battles. I think I beat that horse enough. See, they need to. Oh yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I'm assuming that that is Cheryl because Jeff's under his name in here. I agree with you on that, Cheryl. He should be gone because of that comment. That's my opinion. Well, I was in my neighborhood 2 weeks ago as well, Mark, because I don't drive anymore. I don't know. It's been a lot of self-reflection, and we were just talking about it earlier, and it's one thing to have the nice things, but why? I mean, by all means, if you can swing it and afford it comfortably, not financed out the wazoo like I was, do it. But I am so much happier with that old Silverado than I was the Subaru. It's more comfortable. I can work on things that break instead of taking it into a shop. I don't have a car payment. It's way cheaper to insure. And I guess that's where I was going with that video, is have the things that you want, but put thought into those things. Don't fall into the trap that I did. And I went over that in a lot greater detail in my last video. So by all means, go back and watch that and kind of check that out. I did want to address something on that, just because someone made the comment, and if one guy made it, 20 people were thinking it. That's kind of that general rule, right? So I had someone get on there because I did that ride. You know, we hopped on the Harley and we went and we did a nice long ride. And someone got into the comments and said, if you can ride a motorcycle, you can drive a semi. First off, those are very different. Um, the semis have A, the suspension, B, they're very heavy, and then the air seat that is constantly bouncing up and down. And you could air the seat all the way up and just be violent and not really reach the pedals because they go way up. Um, or you can go all the way down and then you can't see what's happening right in front of your truck. You know, all these people that say, "Oh, you can't see 40 feet in front of your truck." Oh, put some air in your seat. They all have air seats. Air your seat up and look. Because yes, I had a blind spot in front of my truck. It was about 10 feet. So drive properly, be safe. But that constant bounce, and then there's nothing for me to put my arm on. Like they have the armrest thing, but it's just, you know, the trucks have a lot of miles. The one that I got was it was the oldest truck in the fleet because I had my big dog. And he said, you can't have the big dog in the brand new truck that you were in. I mean, that semi had like 80,000 miles on it. It was brand new. He said, hey, you can't have that big dog in that truck. I'm going to put you in the old one. I said, all right, that's cool. So the thing was all worn out and it's just like hard metal on there. And that is very different. And then doing that 6 days, home for a day and a half, 6 days, home for a day and a half, 6 days, home for a day and a half, is very different than getting on the bike and going riding for 2 days. And I have put so much into the ergonomics of that bike, exactly where the hands sit, the size of the grips that are on it, the seat, additional pegs on top of the factory ones, the location and orientation of those pegs. Those are all things you can't adjust in a semi. And it was a 2-day trip. And since then, I have put maybe 10 miles on the motorcycle. And I'm still sore. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was wrecked after that ride. Monday was very difficult. And it's kind of slowly got better up until now. I'm still sore today, but getting better. So I just wanted to address that. And I will make the assumption, and if I'm wrong, that's fine. I'll own being wrong. But I'll bet the gentleman who made that comment on that video probably doesn't ride a motorcycle because he didn't know that difference. And that's fine. But if he sees this, now he knows, because I couldn't articulate all of that in a text response to him. All right. The chat has taken off, so let's get caught up. See, my son bought his first Harley 2 months before the statement. I don't want to sell my... I miss my V-Rod. I really miss my V-Rod. I put a lot, and that was before my time on YouTube. If you go way back in my Instagram, there's there's several photos of me building it. In the middle of the build, you can see like I'm soldering wires because no one makes wires for 14-inch apes for a V-Rod, because, you know, who puts 14-inch apes on a V-Rod? So I had to make my own wiring harness for the damn thing. And I had Sportster parts on it. I had Dyna parts on it. I had Softail parts on it. It was a real Franken bike, and I miss it. I wish I wouldn't have sold that. I really wish I wouldn't have sold that. But I had surgery on both wrists as I was doing that whole build. So I'm like gauzed and wrapped in this hand, like pinch the wires and try and solder them. It was a good time. There's cutting and grinding and welding, and it was fun. They need to apologize to the veterans. Absolutely. I mean, that's a huge part of their. Go to any Harley dealership. I challenge you. Go to any Harley dealership that has more than 4 customers in it at that point, and try to not find a single veteran. Harley's done nothing to help themselves out of this. Yeah, and that's exactly what I just said, Jeff. So you beat me to the punch, sir. I did see they're leasing their bikes now, so you can lease instead of buy. I do appreciate they need to apologize to the veterans. Harley's being slammed by veterans and diehard Harley owners, bike magazines, and the tinted Sturgis went the way of Bud Light. It did. I saw that. That was a little funny. Why is my question just why would they neglect and offend their base customers to appease such a small minority who don't like Harley anyway? Yeah. I mean, a few years ago, you can put a Harley Davidson, a Budweiser in a commercial for anything, and you're going to sell it. Check out this sweet Harley, drink a Budweiser, buy my toilet seat. And it would have sold. That's not the case anymore, though. They offended their customers. They have to make customers that they will never have happy. That's a valid point. I don't know. I've tried to avoid political stuff on this channel. I've kind of dabbled in it here and there, little things, because as a business owner, because that's what all of us are as transporters. Some people actually start a business and get an EIN and all that stuff and run their business. And some people are just running their business. Either way, you're running a business. So in that realm, it's kind of hard to not talk about politics to some degree, but I really have tried to stay out of it. But something that I will touch on, and whether you lean left or lean right or whatever, in the middle, this applies, doesn't matter. So this isn't a pick sides thing. As a society, the camera reverses everything, so I'm trying to get my hand movements right. But as a society, okay, if you have this many people and then this many are screaming really loud, and you change the rules for those, the society is going to fail. And again, not trying to get political on this, because that could be football team, that could be flavor of beer, that could be toppings on a pizza, that could be flavor of ice cream, that could be presidential candidate, that could be Congress, Senate, Supreme Court. It could, that applies to anything. And that is something that we as a society need to understand. I mean, by all means, let's not, hey, screw these few people, but don't change the rules of society to them. Let's see. Cheryl bought the see. It was good advertising. Cheryl bought the toilet seat. It probably has a throttle on it or something. How do I make that go away? That didn't make it go away. I can't read your comment, Cheryl. There's a heart in front of it. I don't know what's happening. I need someone else to comment so I can read Cheryl's comment. It's doing the same thing down on my phone. There's nothing I can do here. There we go. Everything in our house is hard. Yes. And that did help. Thank you, Chris. Well, um, on that, I really don't know what's going to happen. If this insurance thing takes off, I can do content around it. A little, not a whole lot, but there's definitely stuff I can do. That is obviously going to drastically change the audience of this channel because analytics are going to push it to different people. So I don't know exactly I don't know exactly what that's going to do, or if you guys are still going to see the content, or you know what I mean. This part-time job that I'm hopefully getting, the nighttime one, there's absolutely nothing I can do for content around that, and that's fine. If for whatever reason this part-time becomes some type of full-time, which I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know exactly what is, I don't know what the course is here. But if for whatever reason that ends up coming, I have to just drop the insurance stuff completely, which part of me wants to, part of me doesn't. It's a rough decision. And I go full time at this other job. The only content I could put out is going to be family camping trips, motorcycle rides. We have talks about building some mini rock crawlers, much smaller than the Suburban, 2 of them, and taking those out on trips. That's kind of a back burner plan that we're looking at, hopefully maybe doing, if that's the only content I can put out. Do you guys want that? Once this house turns into that veteran charity that I've been talking about, I will definitely be doing some level of content on that. That is something I am very passionate about. I feel very strongly about. I have unfortunately had people bite me in the keister on it, and trying to work all around all of that and navigate that whole. As I said in that video almost a year ago, don't take the easy route because there's a reason it's easy. But once that takes off, there will definitely be content around that for sure. Because, as I said, that's something I feel very strongly about, and I would love to get the word out about that. And do I think it's possible? Maybe, but I would love to see that take off and be in multiple states around the country. I think ultimately I will film things, and as life kind of levels out and I have this thing that they call a normal life, which is kind of weird to me. I think it'll be a lot easier to do these family trips. It's so hard to plan any kind of a big family trip, knowing that, all right, I'm going to get home and I'm going to be home for 2 days. And if I stretch out to 6 days so I can have this 4-day trip with the family, well, that's going to cost me like $5,000. And I can't, I don't want to lose $5,000, and I can't afford to lose $5,000 because that's where I was. Um, so having this normal life and being able to actually put out a decent amount of content from that is going to be good. This normal life thing. I'm excited to try it. I haven't had one of those since 2006, so I'm intrigued, and we'll kind of see how all of that goes. And I'll probably just put the content out and see if you guys are watching it. If you are, great. If you're not, well, then I know. All right, let's catch on some comments because we have kind of fallen a little bit behind here. Let's see. We're seeing our eyes. Yep, we talked that help. Everyone's saying hi to each other. Chris, all I will say is I've been here this long. I'll stick around no matter where you take the channel. I appreciate that, and that's kind of what I was touching on. Is I will most likely end up doing that kind of content, just because it's fun. It's I'm going to be able to enjoy my life with my family, and kind of see where that all goes. I'll be around also. Yeah. Let's see. I will say once I get more established with donating your charity, what little I know that it's going to make a big impact. Yeah, I guess I don't know if I ever really touched on exactly what we're going to be doing. So there have been, this is a 5-bedroom house. With it up and running, it will be able to house 8 veterans by itself with a house manager. And this isn't like the VA home, it's not like hospice care. It's veterans who fell on a hard time in their life. Yes, circumstantially depending, a felon could get into the program, depending on what the crime was. You know what I mean? People who got into drugs and decide they want to get clean, and not, well, I got high last night, I want to be clean today, let me into your program. No, there have been talks with a drug rehab center locally here that has a 12-step program. So you will go there, you will graduate their 12-step program, and when you come in with that certificate from them, then you can come into this. There's been talks with a gentleman who is on the board for the charity, who works with inmates in the prison doing career counseling, resume building, that kind of stuff. And he wants to contribute to that, to help. Hey, you're homeless, you got out of prison, you came out of the drug rehab, whatever your situation is that brought you to this doorstep, let me use these tools to help you. There's been talks with a suicide prevention charity here in the Treasure Valley, and they're very much they very much want to be involved. The same guy that runs that has a couple other veteran programs that he runs that do camping trips, off-roading adventures. I think he does fishing. I'm not positive, but just that kind of like outdoorsy stuff that he does with veterans. And he's got a whole group behind him. And, so like on the off-road adventure stuff, it would be very, very easy to get all 8 of the veterans in the house into the rigs to go do the off-roading adventure, like what I did with the Suburban that you guys have seen on this channel. Get them in that and go do camping trips, day trips, whatever. So that's essentially what this house is going to be. And all that, it's not just oh hey, cool, I get to live here. No, this is a get on your feet. We're going to help you find a job. Once you find that job, we're going to help you get help you with like budgeting and financial planning and that kind of stuff, and then assist you in getting to your own place so you can continue your life. This is not meant to be a dead end. This is not to be meant to be I'm just going to live here. No. And there's not a timeline, because this dude could get his poop in a group and be out the door in a month. This dude, maybe he suffers real bad from PTSD, and we got to work with him and get him a bunch of therapy and counseling and coaching and get all that rolling so that he can reorient himself and focus back in on the target and get going in life. So maybe he's in the program for 6, 8, 10 months. So there's not a cookie cutter. Hey, you're in this long and out. You're in this long and out. No, that's absolutely not what this is. It's just water, I promise. With that, I think I'm probably going to end this here pretty quick. I'm tired. We both have to get up fairly early. And so I think here just a few more minutes, we're going to go ahead and end this. So any questions or comments that you have, please, by all means, go ahead and get those down into the comment section right now. And we'll go ahead and get those addressed before we end this for the night. And I bid you adieu. Because I kind of don't really have anything else to talk about. I ran out of ideas. I guess since we talked about this earlier, I'm really debating between Indian or Victory at this point as to which motorcycle I want. In the thumbnail of this video, one of those bikes is a Victory. It's a cross country. I think I would probably do the Victory Vision if I did a Victory, just because it's an odd duck and I like odd ducks. Mark, when am I going to have surgery? Well, I'm avoiding that, I'll be honest, because when they talked about it, they want to fuse 7 vertebrae in my lumbar section. And we didn't talk about my neck, but since it's the same condition in both, I bet they would want to fuse I think it was 4 up here. And I don't know that I want to do that. There's that. Do you guys see it? It was right there. It was right there. Did you see it? Anyway, that's a whole lot of fusing, and I don't know that I want that. I almost think I would rather just be in pain and be mobile. If they could go in and do something with the discs. I've heard of disc replacements and disc implants and that. I don't know the details of that. I've heard of it. I think I remember seeing some pictures or something. If they want to go that route, I would very much entertain that route. Because while I have a lot of bone issue in neck and spine. I personally believe that most of my pain is coming from disc issues, just based on what I've seen in the MRIs and the CTs and whatnot. And by all means, I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying I'm right. I think, and again, because we haven't had thorough discussions, because the VA is awesome. What was that? I would very much entertain the idea of the disc surgery. I'm scared about the fusing just because I think I would lose so much mobility that I would rather deal with the pain, if that makes sense. Or maybe I'm just really weird and broken. You guys did see the fireworks, right? Like I'm not losing things. Because I'm looking at my screen, I can see my video, and it was just fireworks exploding all over. Okay, she said that you guys saw them. I don't know what is happening. I'm confused. Anyway, I'm gonna give it 3 more minutes, and if there's no other questions, this is gonna be over. Because I just got a whole lot of good nights, and I've heard about those, and yes, I saw the stuff. And I really like the Indian Challenger. I think the Indian Challenger is an amazing bike. I have learned that I have to have a touring frame. So while the Buell Super Sport or whatever it is that just came out is a freaking monster of a bike and amazing, I couldn't ride it, as it's going to be very, very, very similar to my lowrider. And I learned I can't go more than about 30, 40 miles on that before the pain starts setting in. Just like Indian has a couple bikes that are really cool like that. And there's just not anything that you can really, or I can do as far as riding those any long distance. So I would be looking at Indian Challengers. And that's a really cool bike. It's a touring bike. You can get the Challenger Pursuit, and it comes with the tour pack and the leg guards and everything like my Road Glide has. So that would be great. And the Vision looks, really, really comfortable. One of the guys that I ride with, he has the Vision, and it's just every time he takes off from a stoplight, I picture the sound of the Jetsons car taking off, just because that's what it looks like. And that makes me want it because it's rare and unique and odd. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer to a lot of things in life are, but I'll tell you what, as we're winding this down right now, killing yourself and making a bunch of money is cool. Being at home with your family is worth 10 times more. And if it came down to it, I would happily take this part-time job that pays the bills and puts a little bit extra in the bank and be home than kill myself to try to live lavishly 4 days a month. With that, A, I know I'm weird, but pot meat kettle, Miss Cheryl. And B, as always, those of you out on the roads, I wish you fair winds and following seas. Take care and have a great day.